¿Qué tal, amigos de Mundo Holístico? Am, Aquí Maytrelli Diaz en la versión en inglés de Planetary Consciousness. We are starting now the transmission in English from Mundo Holístico, Planeta 2013.tv. Super, super happy to be here today. We are live from the Washington State in the United States. Live transmitting for you with the good news, all the holistic news about the world and the things that are doing all the movement and like changing the things in life. This time is important time in the world, and we really need to be sharing about the good news that are going to be helping the society to change into a new paradigm. So super, super happy to say thank you to Mexico for having this beautiful platform for holistic news, all the spirituality, all the therapeutic arts movement, and all the good things that Mundo Holístico Planeta 2013 has been bringing for over 10 years now. They have been working a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And now, super excited to be opening this opportunity for the United States, Europe, and of course, Central and South America. We are going to be linking the information and channeling, trying to bring more awareness about the new techniques and techniques that we never really seen working before. All the new techniques that have been brought to this new time, this is the time so that we know about it. And today, I am super, super excited to have my doctor, my really, really, really loved doctor. My life hasn't been working out properly without him. Since I met him, basically my life has been really thriving. I feel my body always is really feeling better. When I stop seeing him, I just don't feel the same. So today here for you we have Sam, and Sam is he has a certified nutrition consultant title. He has been he has the status of a clinical master in nutrition response testing, and he has this national certification as nutrition consultant. Sam has been working for many years in what it's called holistic health. So welcome, Sam. Thank you so much for being here today. Now you are there on the Zoom room. Thank you so much and welcome for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to join you this afternoon. I'm excited.
Yeah, super exciting time. Although we are having, like these deep challenges with the pandemic and COVID-19, who was gonna imagine that really this could be something that happened? We if you study civilization and all the things, that if you actually observe how civilization has going, you can actually imagine that something will happen. But just being in the eye of the hurricane, that is what it just really stressed out. And I feel today I wanted to just to have this opportunity for people to know about what you do. And let's talk a little bit about how nutrition and how your work can be helping COVID-19. How is that nutrition will help this situation right now?
So with COVID-19 or any of the influenza, and this COVID-19 is a very highly engineered virus, but it is similar in aspect to a normal influenza, which basically kills a lot more people than COVID-19. But it was just a setup. It was a perfect storm because people, we were go, go, go all the time, not taking care of ourselves, not eating right, not getting proper rest. We're doing all the wrong things. And it took one major impact of this particular virus to really really take society down, really take the body down. But there are many people who are not affected by it. So it's very interesting. And if you look at it statistically, it really is who is affected are the people who are have some form of immunosuppression. They're not healthy. They're not taking care of themselves, and they are their target. But for people who can be healthy, for people who can get their act together and do the right things, that this doesn't have to be the problem that it has turned out to be.
It's truth, and I mean I know for a fact because I've been I all my pregnancy and since my pregnancy and before I've been seeing Sam in my life. Really, I have never really have to take medicines. I do a lot of supplements, but like your body needs to be nurtured. And what is nutrition response testing? And how is this work? If you can tell us more about this, so for friends that don't know about this technique, what how does this work?
Well, first of all, it works really well. But nutrition response testing is basically a system of using a person's body or muscular system and their nervous system to test all the organs and systems for weaknesses or deficiency states. So really, the base of that technique is several thousand years old, and we saw it as acupuncture originally, and they use the same principles of nerve flow through the body, but through nutrition response testing, we're using a very simple and active form of contacting an area on a body and using the neuromuscular system to indicate, is this strong or does it need support? So without getting into the real depth of the technique, it is a way for us to simply assess and evaluate an individual based on what their body is saying, because their nervous system is actually recording everything that's going on and always has. And if we can decipher and decode a person's nervous system, we can basically determine the priority that we need to take, the simplicity by which somebody can get well, or do the right mix of supplementation to affect a better outcome than they have.
And then at this time, Adriancito, if we can display some of these pictures of the technique where how Sam is working, it will be great. Si nos puedes ayudar con eso, por favor. So people can see what, like, how is the how is that this work. Basically you are laying down, you have like Sam will be touching your arm, and there should be a response of your arm. So basically your body is responding to an impulse, and basically you are giving your body is giving the response of what you need. But for people that doesn't know, what will be the basic guidelines for nutritional health and longevity? Because I really noticed that when we are eating, if we are the quality of the food, it matters. But sometimes even if you are having quality foods, I feel like the body is still always needs extra nutritional support. What can you say about this?
Well, actually, the story begins a long time ago. At the beginning of the 1900s, the last century, it was noticed that because of current practices, that the soils in the country, and particularly in the United States, but probably around the world, were declining in viability. And so they would grow plants, but they didn't have the same nutritional quality. In fact, Dr. Royal Lee, who devised some of the supplementation I use from Standard Process, he found that in the 1920s, people were already getting sick because they were malnourished. And so let's roll forward to the 1950s when a lot of the fertilizers and and herbicides and pesticides became widely used, that it further degraded the quality of the nutrition. And then we had food that wouldn't rot, that was full of preservatives. And so people started eating that because they could get it cheap. It was mass produced. And we have slowly been starving ourselves with this modern convenience of packaged food, to the point that the bodies can't compensate anymore. They can't fully support the replication of tissue to cause longevity. So this has been a long-term problem. It isn't anything that happened in the last month or year. It's been going on for 100 years. And we're now at a point where even our environment, our trees and everything, we have so poisoned the planet that, I don't want to make this gloom and doom, but the truth is we have so damaged the environment that to gain nutrition out of even a garden you grow, which is probably the best we can do, even that is a question, because we don't have the nutrition in the soils anymore to create that. So that's where what I do with nutrition response testing and design clinical nutrition, using a high quality nutritional product to fill in the gaps, to fill in the holes that are created, because we can concentrate this beautiful organic nutrition into a form that can take in a tablet, and the body knows exactly what it wants, and we can supply that. This is how we get longevity. We have to make sure we have good food. Now, notwithstanding the fact that you have to have clean air, and we need to go out and get some exercise, which is another problem that's in the North American society anyway, is that our lack of exercise, our sedentary behavior, and now everybody's isolated in their home. And we've even tried to stop them from going out and getting exercise in certain cases. If they're not getting exercise and moving the body and getting fresh air, it impacts the ability of the body to operate normally. So there are a lot of factors that come into play here to have longevity and to have nutritional health. But the one thing that came out probably 30 years ago from the Surgeon General, and I still use this because it really brought it home. He said, if you aren't supplementing with some form of high quality food supplement, you're not going to have sufficiency in your diet. And that's at every level.
It's true. It's true. When I start feeling a little like a specific, I am very, very sensitive with my body. So I can feel, because I meditate a lot, and I know I can feel vibrations, I can feel tangling, I can feel so much some. So then as soon as I notice there is something that I notice that it's different, I go, my body needs something. And then I go with you and we do the test, and voila, there was something that my body needed. So it's a great technique. And I wonder how is that you got into this, because honestly, I am passionate about holistic health, and that's my whole world. I love how the body is the most wonderful machine ever. Like everything is magnificent about the body, the human body. But how did you got into be interested into this practice, or how did it come to your life?
So roll back into the 1950s, and I grew up in Colorado, in the US, and I grew up on a family farm. And at that point, there was a lot of wide usage of herbicides and pesticides. And I remember this from about age 7 on. And at particularly age 7, because I was so sick, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. I actually had what they thought was the Asian flu, the mumps, and the German measles all at the same time.
Oh, God.
And that almost killed me. a couple of years later, with more exposure, I started to lose all the skin on my body. And then I was irradiated. And
Wow.
then at about age 13, I started to gain weight. And I gained, I was, I was a pretty good sized kid, but I really put on about 50% more weight in a very short period of time. My body was shutting down. The medical profession didn't know what to do. They thought I had an eating disorder, or I had some mental thing going on, and which was not true. I started studying, and I read everything I could get my hands on about about disorders in the body and about whole health practices. And some of the texts I read were very, very old. Very old. They're late 1800s, early 1900s, and they were very insightful. And I begged my parents to get me to somebody that knew something about this, and they did. They got me to an osteopath from Germany that had a clinic nearby in Colorado, and he took me under his wing. And in 6 months, I had my health back. I lost 75 pounds. Um, I spent a lot of time in a steam cabinet, just sweating out all the poisons in my system. And he used a form of, another term I want to use is called nutritional kinesiology, which is an early form of nutrition response testing. And he learned this in Germany, and they didn't teach this in the US. There wasn't anybody that did this. So I begged him to teach me. And I begged him, and I begged him. And he finally said, okay, I'll teach you. Now he had this very rough German voice, and I have a little problem duplicating it, but he said, okay, I teach you. And so for 3 years, while I was finishing high school, I worked with him. And he took on the sickest of the sick, the ones that the medical profession didn't know what to do with, and we got them better. And I learned so much. And I said, I'm going to carry on this work. And so I went on to college and studied chemistry and was in pre-med. And I decided I didn't want to cut and sew for a living. So I ventured off into my own and studied what I wanted to study, and had a couple of other career things that I did. And then I decided I needed to go back to school. And I went back and I got my master's degree in counseling and nutrition, and decided that, okay, I'll do this. And so I saw a few clients and had a little practice, and then an opportunity to move to the West Coast. So about 26, 26 years ago, I think, I opened my own practice. I opened up a practice, a full practice. I had studied with a couple of other practitioners. I'd studied with the person who put together nutrition response testing. I opened my own practice. I began to see people. They began to get better miraculously. And I know that I'm in the right channel. I know that I'm doing the right thing. And I have great confidence in what I'm able to do with people. I mean, people come in every day with things that nobody else can figure out, but they come to me because I figure them out.
It's truth. I have to say, friends from all over the world, Sam has guided me into a really vibrant health. I feel every day how my body needs this food. Although, like, honestly, I am a person that I eat everything organic. That is basically from time to time. Yeah, when I go to Mexico, it's harder to find organic food there, but the body needs support. The body really needs to just get more food, and this technique has just amazed me for years. So I mean, I've done different techniques, and I respect different holistic therapists, but in order to gain holistic health, this technique, of course, doing exercise, drinking the right water, and having, like a practice on your own, meditation or any workout you can do. It's going to really take you to have a balanced life. Holistic living is about take yourself as the whole that you are. You are not only the mother or the father, you are also the brother, you are also the wife, the student. We have so many facets, and the body is the same. Not because you have your nervous system. The nervous system is one thing, and your digestive system is other. We are we are a whole. We are a complete picture of the self, and this technique is just amazing. I really highly recommend to look into this, because I know that you have success with very difficult different illness, like the very hard ones, fibromyalgia and Lyme disease, things that honestly I think you went very wise in not going into med school, because I promise you, I know for a fact, but doctors, they really, I don't know if they want to pretend they don't know, or they just really get into their mindset of like, we don't
So
know. So
I
I
can speak a little bit about the medical profession. My wife is an MD. She's an obstetrician and gynecologist. And when I first met her, we were talking about nutrition, and she said, "You have to stop. You're assuming that I know what you're talking about." And she says, "My education in nutrition was 6 pages stapled together." They're not. It's not that they're not wise people. They're very wise for what they do, but they're just not educated in how the body works as a system. They're all talking about their own specific little part. They're not educated in how the body, all the organs talk to each other. The nervous system is talking, cross-talking all the time to figure out exactly what the body needs in any given moment. But they're not looking at that. They're not trained to look at that. Nobody has taught them. This was a medical practice in the late 1800s, with homeopathy being the primary part of medicine, where actually you would actually look at the body as a system, as a whole thing, instead of its separate parts. I mean, here's someone that would come in with, let's say um, they have a rash. Well, how did that rash happen? The rash is a symptom. People come in and where you go to the doctor because you have symptoms, and they treat the symptoms. They're not treating the cause. Here's the big difference in what I do with nutrition response testing is I look for the cause. What caused this problem? What's underneath it? Now, it's several things, because anything can cause anything, at least in my world. Now think about that. Anything can cause anything. So you have to look at the body as a complete system. That what I'm seeing, if you have a sore toe, well, why is that toe sore, other than if you hit it with something? But if it's just sore on its own, why is that true? And with nutrition response testing, I have a way to trace all of those symptoms back to a cause. And it's a very valuable technique, because if we can fix the cause, the body will take care of itself. It's the same thing we can do for the earth. If we can get to the cause of the problem, the earth will take care of itself. It's all on scales, on orders of magnitude. But in a body, we're going to get the cells talking to each other and figure out what they need, supply that, and then the body becomes whole and vibrant. And in fact, it's my ideal picture is sustainable, vibrant health. And that's what I want my clients to achieve. And I know they can if they do certain things. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But this is a system. This is a system that gives information. What a body does. It's my ability to read that information and to train the client to listen to the information that the body is giving, so that they can actually do some of the understanding themselves. I really don't do anything. I read the signals and give the tools, but The individual, the patient, the client, they're the ones who do the work. And the nutrition fully supplied does the work. We are built to restore. We're built to survive. We're built to thrive. I'm going to help that happen through the work that I do.
I just really love your support. I have tried several different practitioners in the area for years, and I just really feel this is the one that it just like helps me feel better. Like I know what is going on, and I hope that friends and all the people around, they are taking care of themselves right now, doing the right things, eating the right foods, trying to create your own garden. It's one of the most important things right now. Even if you have a small little area in your house, having your own food, what water you're putting, you are not putting any fertilizants that are like bad or poison or roundup. You don't really know what is going on in the world right now. Sometimes even they are like spraying these things through the air. I mean, this is just it's insane. We are in a moment that it's really important for everyone to know what you're putting on your food. And super super happy to have you, Sam. I think we're gonna have to go for a little break, for a tiny little moment to break. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back in 1 minute. Thank you, friends of Mundo Holistico TV and Planetary Consciousness. This is Holistik Living, Maytrelli Diaz, live from Seattle. And we have my dear friend Samuel Zieler. We are having a wonderful talk about holistic health, nutrition response testing. And I wanted to ask you, Sam, that you know a lot more about this theme. What are the biggest health challenges that we are facing now, and how nutrition can be helping this?
Oh, the challenges are very interesting. They're the obvious things about this time of year is absolutely flu, colds, allergies. I mean, we're going into spring, and in the Northwest, the trees are just in their glory, pumping out pollen, and it impacts a lot more people every year, and it's a little more severe every year. That's an environmental issue. Maybe we'll get to that. But those are issues that we face here. I'm certain there are ones that people are facing locally around the world that are similar, but influenza is always a big one this time of year, and it basically kills a lot of people. So it's a big challenge. Beyond that, the issue with dehydration, people don't hear about it. They don't, you have to drink Gatorade and stuff like that. Well, that's a terrible thing to put in your body because it's filled with salt and sugar, which are things we actually shouldn't put in the body. But dehydration, and a few years ago, it was noticed that we were on the edge of being completely dehydrated as a society because people just didn't hydrate the body. And if you don't hydrate the body properly, it's a real challenge. I'm sure everybody can probably have a picture of a puddle after a rainstorm. It's full of water. As it dries out, the bottom of the puddle gets all wrinkled and open, all the cracks open up. Imagine that's what's happening to your body on the inside if you don't drink enough water. It makes the body open season for all kinds of nefarious bugs that could get inside a body. That's a body that's degrading and falling apart, and you get some interesting things that the medical profession doesn't really have a handle on, and that's parasite. And that happens, and most people recognize that if they go to a foreign country and eat the food and they come back with some unwanted guests that traveled with them. I know we've talked about that and experienced it. I mean, that's pretty common, but it happens on a much smaller scale close to home with people with pets and things. They get parasites, and it affects their sleep. It affects their ability to think. It affects all manner of their beingness. So that's kind of like a hidden terror that happens. So that's one of the things that is a health challenge. The other, and probably more obvious but not looked at, is diabetes. The medical profession would have you believe that everybody's pre-diabetic. Why is that? And that's because they're eating food that's devitalized. They're eating food that's largely, it's been packaged, boxed, somehow frozen, preserved, and then it's filled with sugar and salt to give it flavor. Common. And I watched as people with this COVID thing, people going into the grocery stores, there's a whole set of society that doesn't know how to cook. So they go in and they buy all the packaged food. We're going to see a bump in diabetes because of this issue. It's a big problem. The diabetes and sugar industry is huge. So that's another factor. We have to get our diets under control. I get people off of diabetes drugs all the time just by getting their diet straightened out, getting them moving the body, and relearning how to care for this fine machine. Let's see, other challenges. Probably, wine and alcohol is now easily available, at least in this state. And I imagine consumption, I think I saw some statistics where consumption of alcohol has gone way up because people are home and nothing to do. They get bored and they consume more alcohol, which leads to other problems. There's a whole host of things going on like that. A big part of it is just people are not taking care of their body. They're using on the outside of the body, they're using harsh chemicals instead of natural things to clean the body. They're using dryer sheets. And that seems like a pretty benign thing. Well, it's not. University of Washington did a study on dryer sheets and the chemicals used, and they're carcinogenic. So you don't need to anyway. So you're talking about health challenges. It's not the big dog challenges. It's all these little things that we have thought were convenient or made it smell nice or what have you, actually came like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's taking the system down. It's limiting the ability of the body to code for a big problem like COVID-19. So
Yeah, like they are not really telling you like all like what can affect your body. They just say, oh yeah, warm your food in this microwave. They don't tell you all those things. Then you have a microwave in your house and you are eating that type of food, and then you get your dryer sheets, and then you have all the carcinogens, and then you think, oh, this is cheaper, and then you go buy the non-organic food for saving some dollar or like a few cents or whatever. Sometimes honestly, like I've been learning so much. I used to be a person that I didn't really mind organic or not, and now that I married this like food snob, as I call him, I really learned a lot of him. Like he showed me all the things that they are doing with the food, how they are spraying everything. You have to be very careful. I sometimes honestly, is if it's not going to be organic, I prefer not to eat it, because it's better to go hungry or just drink water than having just like this toxic food that it's just really killing us. They are adding one thing to another and another, and I just think that people need to really research and learn and study what are the challenges that you are facing in the place you live. Like Mexico have different challenges that we have here. Asia has different challenges that they have in Africa. We all have different challenges, but it's important that we can really look into this. How is nutrition helping us, Sam?
So nutrition is really helping because it first of all, it's necessary for life, for the cells to operate correctly. They get the right signals. So on a very microscopic level, good nutrition is vital so that the DNA can actually replicate normally, so that you're not building mutant cells in your body. Well, I'll talk about my views on mutant cells and cancer in a minute, but so we have to look at, what does every cell need? It needs food as close to nature as possible. It's the way we came in, was food as close to nature as possible. And as much as we can do that, we should do that. It's a vital action to get back to the primary basics of what does a body need. It needs whole, complete food, not a fraction of a food. It needs the whole thing. Nature doesn't have any junk. Man creates junk, but nature comes with a full package, tries to. And so as every environment, you need the sun, you need the dark, you need water, you need the dry, we need all these things. We know all aspects of the way nature provided them. We haven't moved away from that. And if we do move away from that, the body mutates. So here's the interesting viewpoint of, we talk about the big CA word, cancer word. And where does that come from? Imagine, if you will, that you have different systems in the body that circulate different fluids. And we talk about blood. Okay, that's one. We talk about the interstitial fluid, the water that circulates in the body. And then we have the lymphatic channel, which is actually the waste channel of the body. And the more junk that you put in the waste channel that it can't clear, it's going to get stuck somewhere. You're constantly sloughing off cells that still are you, but it ends up in the wrong place, which is the definition of cancer, are cells, body cells out of place in the body. And so if you plug up the drain system, you're set yourself up for a serious problem. So that's a big health challenge. We eat foods that are devitalized. That means more toxic load for the body. Drinking water out of plastic bottles. You know, we think that was a really good thing. It's really a bad thing. If the sun hits that bottle, it starts to break down. Not to mention what it does to the planet. You know, so we need to really get a grip on what's needful to do, both on the individual scale and on a local scale and on a global scale, of how do you tune all this up, how we handle the challenges that are out there.
It's truth. It's so sad how these days the cancer has been just spreading out so much. I really feel, and for what I've been studying, this is basically just like the result of the last, let's say, 25 years. So people that it's getting sick now right now, or the people that are actually passing away from these reasons, is people that didn't take care of themselves 25 years before. So of course, if you're doing these actions for 25 years, you are not going to die immediately. It's like I tell everybody, don't use that deodorant that has, you know, aluminum, because this is the place where you are detoxing. Then you're putting aluminum there. Of course you're going to get that type of sickness. I mean, you don't see it in 1 or 2 weeks or a month or 3 years. But when you are thinking, oh, you get a habit, you make this habits of, this is the brand I buy, and then you do that for 25 years. Of course there is going to be bad consequences. And we can see how these cells, they are really they are just like, just bad. They are just really, how do you call it, like they really take over. Like when they know there is a little area where they can come, they take over that, and they just really make you
So
sick.
here we are with COVID-19, which is an opportunistic structured virus that works on that attacks the respiratory system, and it is designed to do just that. But it's going to be ones that are compromised, that have a compromised immune system, that suffer the most. They're the ones at risk, because they can't fight off this virus, so you can't keep it at bay so that their body can control it. That's why there are so many asymptomatic carriers, because the virus is around, but the people that have strong immune systems, it never affects them. They don't get it. So we need to be careful with that. But the way COVID-19 works is it gets in the respiratory tract and gradually gets into, because you're breathing that in, it gets into the bloodstream and separates the oxygen off from the blood by getting rid of the iron, which that's what holds the oxygen to your blood cells. That people gradually just, they lose care. They can't carry oxygen in their blood, and they slowly suffocate.
This is such an aggressive cell. Like I just really feel like, if there was something in the world that has to, like, slap our faces in this moment and make us really like wake up, this are you really going to be doing this? Like, wake up. This is an aggressive virus. This is an aggressive way to really affect, and it mutates. So like,
Right.
basically you cannot even, once you are trying to cover something, it mutates and takes over some
Right.
things.
Yeah, it is an initial problem with a long-lasting effect, and it'll be with us for quite a while. So what do we do nutritionally to maintain, to get our health on that? Is one, you have to build up the immune system. You have to really work on building an immune system and keeping that healthy. Some very simple things to do that with. And we do that with nutrition response testing. We can figure out what a body needs for it. And I would give them, I'd give them a combination of whole food supplements that help build the immune system. A lot of vitamin A and a lot of vitamin C, but in a particular combination, but not ascorbic acid, because ascorbic acid, many people take too much of that, and then it begins to pull other nutrition out of the body. So you have to be wise about this. The body knows natural systems. It is a natural system. My philosophy is that you have to treat it as a natural system, and everything works together. There isn't anything that works by itself. So you have to have the right tools. So that's why everybody has a unique situation. What I do with nutrition response testing is help them discern what their unique situation is going to require to rebuild their health, to stay on board and stay in a body long enough to do what they're here to do.
Truth. And I am interested in showing our friends all over the world. Do you mind sharing your boxes with all your with all the because in this way Sam can your body can detect what you are allergic to, and if you want to show it to the camera.
In a box, these are all homeopathic representations of things. This particular box has to do with heavy metal and heavy chemical poisoning. It has all the ones that we typically find in our environment. And so the way this works homeopathically is if I can put this in proximity to your body, to a person's body, and their nervous system will give me a certain response. If it knows these things, it will give me a response in no uncertain terms. The other one are, we look at how the body responds to foods. We look at how the body responds to known immune challenges. And it helps me to discern how to support a body, because they don't cure anything, but it helps me support a body to understand and code for its environment, and to rebuild the system to handle whatever shows up. I have people coming in, all different kinds of things that come in. People come in with a funny rash, and it turns out to be needs that their body needs ability to better handle a fungal load, because the first question I ask them is, how much sugar have you been eating? And then they get this little look on their face, and you always tell that somebody found out.
Those are the questions that really we have to be asking ourselves, and it's important right now for everyone to try to really just stay away of sugar, stay away of soda, stay away of like carbohydrate, just kind of like all these things that you don't really know what the source, and like that that they are going to transform into sugar. Just avoid them, honestly. Thank you so much, Sam. I think we are super happy to share this information. Tell me, how can people get a hold of you? You are in Seattle area.
Right.
Like how can people can find you? Do you have a website? Do you have a telephone number?
So my company is called Robust Life Center, and I try to
give me a second. If Adrian, puedes poner la información, if you can help us with that, please. Okay. Go ahead. He's gonna be like
Robust Life Center. You can go on my website. You can send me an email at samz, or it depends on where you are in the world, samz at robustlifecenter.com. You can Google my name, you'll find me. I'm on YouTube. I'm out there. I wrote a book on multiple sclerosis. I've had the most success with multiple sclerosis of anybody I know, totally reversing it.
friends, Samuel Zieler, he is amazing right now, nutrition response testing and counselor. So please tune in, go and research a little more about what he does in Robust Life Center. And honestly, this is the time for everybody to be paying attention to your diet, nutrition, and all this world of food that people can be like, be very careful. If you are not, then reconsider, because we don't have too much time. And like our life, it's, I mean, we can live like what, 100 years. You really want to have a vibrant health.
Indeed.
Samuel, thank you so much. You wanna, the last words you wanna say to the people around the world to know about you or something?
Well, get in contact with me. I can direct you to other people who have some of the same knowledge I have. They're not me, but they have some of the same technique. And we can help them develop sustainable, vibrant health, the long term, at least 100 years of being really healthy, and until it's time to go. So I'm here to help, and I really want to reach out to as many people as I can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Really, it has been such a pleasure for me in my life. Samuel took me into a beautiful journey in my pregnancy. I didn't see the doctor even once. I had my baby at home. I had a midwife and I had Sam. Everything that I needed, he found. Everything, like my body was like needing, or like a little bit imbalanced. The water, I had a big problem with water. He found. He is my best coach on this issue. Holistic health, it's really important for us to thrive, to be happy, and honestly, I think being holistic beings, it's better. Being holistic, having a holistic life make us thrive. So I just really invite everybody to like tap into his work and find about what he's doing. And wherever you are in the world, take care of yourself, breathe. That's what it's going to be really helping us. Breathe deeply, like be conscious with yourself, love your body, take care of that. And we are going to be tuning in next Wednesday in Holistik Living again. We are going to be doing at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central Mexico time. So thank you so much, Samuel. A big hug for you. And thank you to all the friends in Mundo Holístico TV, Planetary Consciousness, and Holistik Living.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.